very typical 13-year-old girl. She liked having her way. She liked doing what she wanted to do, and she would try to manipulate you in any way that she could to get what she wanted. And this particular day, we were getting ready for school, and of course that's always such a very easy thing to do in the morning, because this one is running this way, another one's running another way. Nobody is on time. So we're rushing around, and I told her she couldn't do anything. So then she started talking to me very loudly, talking back to me, and it ended up that she started lying to me. And that was the one thing that we always drew the line, was when somebody lied in the house. And so I kept saying, Melissa, you're lying. Melissa, you're lying. The next thing, Melissa, you're lying. Get in the car. You're going to be late for school. So we go to school, and all the way there, the two of us are fighting. My last words to her as she's getting out of the car is, Melissa, you are a little liar, and you're grounded forever. And she slams the door and stomps off into school after she had told me all morning how horrible I was and how she didn't like me and she didn't want anything to do with me. So she goes into school, and her dad and I and her little brother, who was 5 at the time, we take off to the city to buy a boat. So we go to the city and we're in the boat. The whole day I am so mad. I am so upset at Melissa. And every time something comes up, I don't know, I don't care. And in my mind, I keep going over everything. Was she lying to me, or was the other person lying to me? And I just keep mulling this over all day long. That night we go to my husband's mother's house, and she was to be picked up by a babysitter who was a very good friend of ours and had a daughter her age. So they get to the house, and the mother calls, and she says, you know, the kids are graduating out of middle school, and they're having a dance farm tonight, a street dance. Can the girls go? And I said, no, Melissa is grounded. She's grounded forever. She lied to me. She cannot go. And her dad gets on the other phone and says, oh, let her go to the dance, but you have to pick her up. So the mother came after the dance, picked him up, but the other girl's boyfriend had a friend that had just gotten a car, a brand new Corvette. And so the guys followed the mother into our house and said, can we take the girls for one ride and bring them straight home? So the other mother says, sure, go ahead, no problem. So they all pile in to this little Corvette, put the top down. They take one spin through town, and on the way home, they flip the car over 3 times, and 3 of the kids were killed. Now, this whole time, I'm still mad, and I go in to the bedroom, and I'm laying down reading, and because I'm too upset still, because I'm mad, that I just didn't want to be with the big group. So I just went in the bedroom, and all of a sudden, Melissa is sitting on the edge of the bed. And I'm looking at her, and she says, Mom, she says, you were right. She says, I was lying to you. She says, I don't know how you knew it, but I was lying, and I'm sorry. And I said, I know you were lying. And I said, it's okay. I said, we'll work this out. Everything will be fine. And she says, I want you to know I love you. And I said, well, I love you too, kid. But, you know, these things happen. And then all of a sudden she was gone. And I looked over at the clock and it was 11:50. And I thought, there was such a calm that came over me. I thought, you know, I think I'll just lay down and go to sleep. And the whole day, the anguish from the whole day, the whole argument, it had just gone out of my body. And I just laid down and I went right to sleep. And I didn't even hear my husband come in when he came in to go to bed. And about 12:30, the telephone rang. And when the telephone rang, I knew she was dead. I absolutely knew that she was dead. And I jumped out of bed and I was in on the kitchen phone before my husband could roll over and pick up the phone. And it was the other mother. And sure enough, the kids had been in an accident and they were declared dead at 12:01. Melissa was. But the doctor had actually said that she had died at the scene, but they couldn't declare her dead until they got her to the hospital. But the medics said that she had died and that it was instant that she had broke her neck. I knew when she appeared to me she was okay. I knew that she was fine and that we were fine. I'm just so thankful that she did, because the argument was so intense. And after she appeared, it seemed like we had mended fences. And do I miss her? Of course I miss her. Even though it's been a really long time now. But I know she's okay. And I know that she has I know that she loved me and I loved her. So I think everything was okay. Michael was 5 when Melissa died. She was 8 years older than he was, and she loved him. Oh gosh, she took him everywhere, wherever they went. You know, she took him. They were joined at the hip, as they say. When Melissa died, for some reason, and I don't know why, I do not have any idea why we thought that Michael just would not miss Melissa. We just thought, you know, Michael is here, you know, Melissa is gone now. He's never going to miss her. So why tell him? He doesn't understand what death is. He's just, you know, a little kid. He, you know, it'll just be something that just happened, you know. If he asks us, Melissa just went to live someplace else. I have no idea what we were thinking. It wasn't the way we should have been thinking, but that's the way we were. So neither of us ever talked to him about Melissa dying. Neither of us ever talked to him about the accident. We just didn't discuss it. We virtually took the pictures down in the house, and it was just like Melissa was never there. Not a good way to act, but it's the way we did it. I said to him, I said, Michael, I said, I'm sorry, we never talked about this. Are you okay? And he says, Mom, I'm fine. He says, I talk to Melissa all the time. He said, she lived in the closet. And he said, she'd come out and she'd talk to me. She told me all about the accident. She told me about the car flipping and about her flying out of the car. And he says, I know where the tennis shoe is. I said, Michael, what are you talking about? He says, I know where Melissa's tennis shoe is that you couldn't find. And I said, how do you know about that? And he says, Melissa told me where it was, told me all about it. And I thought, this is unbelievable, because nobody knew that we were looking for that tennis shoe except her dad and the funeral director. I said, we didn't tell anybody else, but that was just something that we wanted to find to bury with her, because those tennis shoes were so important to her. And it was status at that time. And she and her dad had fought over whether she could have the tennis shoe. And finally I went out and bought them, and I thought, I'm going to bury those shoes with her. But we never could find the tennis shoe. We never talked to Michael about Melissa, period, after she died. And we certainly didn't talk to him about the tennis shoe. I didn't talk to my sister or my closest friends about the tennis shoe.